Well, hello, hello, hello. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending, of course, when you're listening to us. Welcome at another episode of Dance Gems. Today, I would like to talk about the art of practice and preparation in dance, but I would never do that without my good buddy and my best friend, Ton Greten, all the way from the Netherlands. Ton, are you there? I just throw
Yes.
I throw a subject to you. I want to talk about the art of practice and preparation in dance. Is that something that speaks to you?
Yeah, fantastic, Sean. Actually, the whole life is a dance. You know that?
The whole life is a dance, or the whole life is a practice or a
No,
preparation?
both. Both. Yes.
Yeah,
But the whole life is a dance. Yes, I would say it more like
yeah.
that. It sounds nicer.
Life is a dance. Maybe that's a
Life is a dance.
I
Yes.
like that. Life is a dance. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I know. I think so. I think Nietzsche at some point in time said, not our good friend Nietzsche the dancer, but Nietzsche the psychologist and philosopher. I mean, you have two choices in life. Now, life is a dance, and it's your choice whether you're the spectator or the participant.
Yes. But, but I
But
train my whole life for my dance.
yeah, I remember not too long ago we had a Dutch episode, and dear listeners, that sounds maybe weird, but Ton and I, we have actually two podcasts. Both are called Dance Gems, and one is in Dutch and one is in the Netherlands. In Dutch, I have to say, not in the Netherlands, but it's in Dutch, and we do the same subject, and sometimes it is exactly the same, and sometimes it's a little bit different. But typically, I remember after we did the Dutch subject, thinking, "Oh man, I wanted to say this actually." And
Mhm.
we were talking about practice and preparation. And then one of the things that we actually said in the pre-discussion is, it's a whole lifelong of preparation and
Yeah.
practice. It's not,
Yeah. It doesn't matter
yes,
what it is.
doesn't
With
matter what
food,
it is. Yeah,
with drinking, with everything in your
drinking.
life, with yeah, drinking also. Eh? If you not
Yeah,
drink, you get somewhere problems.
yes,
So
yes,
yes,
yeah.
actually, also if you want to be, say, if you have a goal to be a really professional dancer,
Hmm.
yeah, you don't drink Coca-Cola and coffee with 10 spoons of sugar in it. That's actually not done normally.
Normally,
But
normally.
yeah.
But
Hmm.
Ton and I both, we like a little bit of sweet things.
Yes, yes, yes,
Yeah,
yes.
we do. So we have a little bit here and there. We cheat a little bit, right?
Yeah, yes,
Sometimes
yes.
a little bit with candy or
Hmm.
with pastry. We cheat a little bit,
Yes.
but in general, we're talking about the bigger things and that's very often forgotten is what you put in your body, right? Garbage in is garbage out. So healthy thing
Yes.
in. So if you want to have maintain a good body, I mean it's so obvious as it is, but the majority of what you eat should be,
Yes.
only healthy.
Yes. The investment now in your body is
Yeah.
the payment later.
Yeah, I always say,
Ah,
you won't get a healthy body from eating one time a salad. You won't also get a fat body or a not so nice body if an overweighted, I should say. I'm sorry, that
yeah,
was not so nice.
overweighted.
That was
Yes.
not so nice for me to say. But from eating one time a burger, right?
Yeah.
So
Yes.
that's
Too much for everything, Sean.
yes. That
It's not okay
that
actually.
is a better way to say. Thank you
And too
for
less
helping with that.
also not. So
Two
find your
lessons.
own balance also in your
Yeah,
training. And this is
yeah.
our subject for today. And our target group could be social dancers or could be professional dancers. So I would want to keep it more dancers who are practice for to be a professional dancer or a dancer on a higher level or more experienced dancer to gain more an experienced dancer.
Yeah, yeah.
But still, the social dancer you can also listen to the podcast, because there are many, many points what
Yeah,
you can use for
yeah.
for your daily life.
For your daily life
And
or for your
yeah,
dancing. In general,
or for
if
your
you want
dancing.
to, yeah, in dancing, if you want to improve in anything, in this case, of course, we focus a little bit more on dance, but if you want to improve in anything, that is a subjective thing, of course, what is improved, but you can improve on any level, then I think what we have to say here is maybe helpful for you. We leave that up to you to decide whether this was helpful for you or not. And then
Yes.
professional, I used to have a quote, maybe we can bring it back. You don't have to be a professional to have a professional attitude to the things that you do.
Mhm.
Does that make sense?
Absolutely, Sean. That's a
Yeah.
nice one. Yes,
Yeah.
really. That's a nice one. I have another one.
Hmm.
It's not a quote, or maybe it's a quote. I don't know. They use it in English, I think. I practice and train my whole life, also for dance, but also as a human being.
Yeah.
And one thing what I remember now from the time that I train and practice is: too early is on
Hmm.
time is too late is unacceptable.
Yeah.
So it starts with discipline and motivation. And these are big words. And actually, we need them. And also respect and continuity. So this is actually very important for your training if you want to gain a result for the long term. For
Yeah.
the short term, it's okay if you miss something here and you do it more social. Yes, that's okay. But if you are want to compete on
Yeah.
the dance floor,
Hmm.
if you want to go to auditions for in a company, or you want to dance uh, in TV programs, and then it needs a longer preparation, and you need to train for that one. And what you could train, we will speak, yeah,
Yeah.
now
Yeah.
in this podcast about it.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. I like that. I think, I was reading just the other day a book called 10X. The book is called 10X, and the author was talking about, if it comes to achieving things in life, there are two things most critical. Number one is what you mentioned, discipline, and the other one I thought it was interesting. The way he mentioned it was integrity, right? How much integrity do you have to yourself, and how I interpreted what he said was, we often make promises to other people. I will show up in time. I will practice with you 5 times a week. All these kind of things, right? And then, how much truth do you have towards that promise? Well, and here's the thing that I have. It is of course important if I tell to Tom, we start at 9 o'clock with our podcast. It's my own integrity to do that. If I say I will be prepared to this podcast, it's my discipline to be prepared. But here is where it becomes interesting, Tom, and I would like to have your opinion about it. How much integrity do you often have to yourself? You promise to yourself that you would like to achieve blah, fill in, that's your own goal, right? And then the next thing after a few weeks, you say, yeah, maybe I just, there's a lack of integrity to the promise you made to yourself to eat more healthy, to sleep better. So it's not only what you and I have towards each other, which I know, Tom, we know each other now for years already. We have a lot of things that we promise to each other. We also are very honest to each other. Can you
Hmm.
do this sooner or later? We say, okay, let's do that. But it's often also, what promises do you make to yourself, right? Does that
Yes,
make sense, Tom?
yes,
That
absolutely,
Yeah,
Sean. It's
yeah,
a motivation also
yes,
to um, to be aware that your life is fun, that you like to do it. And if there comes a point where you not are motivated anymore to do, and you say, I will do it tomorrow, um, yes, then it's actually already too late, but not too late if you do it really tomorrow.
Yeah.
integrity, and discipline. But if you do it 3 months later, it's also okay. But still, try to have a certain continue.
Yeah.
I say the word right.
Continuation, be
Continu- yeah, continuation. That's very, very important because you can start on something, but stay in the first thoughts why you did it and why you started
yeah.
and why you want to do it, and take that always back in your training. It doesn't matter what you train, mainly for dance. This is important. Also, you the one what I learned through the years is respect, Sean. I
Yeah.
will explain what I mean with respect
Hmm.
or give some more context. I go to my training in my group, and there are a bunch of hip hop dancers or contemporary dancers, doesn't matter which kind of dance form it is, and I'm too late. So my discipline was, maybe I was going on time, but something happened on the way, and I come too late and go immediately to my lesson, to my training. I would do to the group, sorry group that I disturb you. I had a flat tire or I was in the traffic and I couldn't really not go earlier for my work. So then people would understand it because you disturb already the group, and it's not respectful just to go and I'm too late. Say sorry. Nobody knows what the sorry is, but also vice versa for the trainer also. And he needs also to have respect. And when he do exercises with you or he doing a certain training, give context as a trainer also. So context is one of also for me important. Next to the discipline, motivation, integrity, and yeah, respect is a big word. So all these words together, holistic. Yeah,
Yeah.
I would
Yeah.
get that in the mind. Also respectful for yourself.
For
If you
sure.
say I trained today
Yeah.
and you don't do it, where's the respect for yourself then
Yeah.
and the discipline
Yeah, I think that's a huge part of being prepared to either do a competition or you do you do a showcase or you do
and audition?
an audition. So there are many things that you can prepare for,
Yes,
and
and an audition for school or an audition
audition
for
for
a company. It's
yeah,
also
same, yeah, yeah, both things. So you if you I Ton and I now basically see everything as a journey, but there are phases in the journey, right?
yeah,
So they're not separate parts. It's not like you prepare and then suddenly you have a competition or one of the other events. It is a holistic thing, but there are definitely different phases of your journey. There is, for instance, a phase if you go on vacation where you say, okay, let's plan our destination. A parallel of destination would be your goal, right? You say, hey, I would like to become a part of that company, or I would like to score pretty high on that competition. That's your destination, right? So then you say, hey, I'm going, so what do I need for that destination? You make your list of preparation. You go to a cold country, you bring winter coats. You go to a warm country, you bring swimsuits. Does that make sense? So if I go to a competition of dance, then you need dance shoes. I mean, it's simple as that. But to make things and see things through that lens of what things can I prepare and what not is, in our beliefs, incredibly important to increase your chances to reach your destination. You can never get a guarantee that it
yeah.
is. And it does not necessary also. That's part of the adventure and the journey. But to increase the success of your journey comes down to knowing what you can influence and what you cannot influence.
Yes, absolutely, Sean. I'm so beautiful said what you said there, and make a notice here on my paper. I don't want to forget to hook in about this
Hmm.
this departure and
Yeah.
this how you call it, destiny or
Destination. Yeah.
arrival,
Yeah.
destination, arrival, and your journey. So I would see it as three things
Yeah.
actually.
Definitely.
You departure, you have a journey, and you have an arrival or destination. In dancing, exactly the same. Because if you have your proprioception, your body awareness, your own awareness of your body and your body parts, they have also a departure from A, they have a journey, a pathway, and they have a arrival, a destination. And this is in your power training, this is in your stretching, in your isolations, in everything what you do, you need that awareness of these 3 points. And how more you are aware of it, how more it will improve on that dance floor, but also during your life with all the activities. Sean, super set. Yeah.
Yeah. So we have, you can also, if it comes to a competition or an audition, competition is a little bit easier in this case for me to explain because there are typically more than one round, right? So
Yes.
I always used to say, hey, there are things that you do before the competition, and then you can break that down into very beginning before or ramping up to the competition. Then there are things that you do in between the rounds, and there are things that you do while you do your competition or while you dance for your audition. And if you can see those different phases, you do different things at all. So while you are dancing, you are not going to think anymore, am I what dress am I going to wear? You're already on the competition floor. That should be done at the very beginning of the process. That's probably a good time to think about what dress shall I put
Yeah.
on.
That's your
Yeah.
departure. But
That's your
maybe
departure.
before you depart, that's what you told,
Yeah, you
what
put
you take in your suitcase. And this case, as a dancer, you
exactly.
prepare already everything before.
Hmm.
And if you not have learned that from your teacher,
Hmm.
maybe it's now the time to learn that. And when the trainer don't do this, so maybe there is some point where I think, okay, I have to be more prepared. And if you be more prepared, the hopefully the success is change the chance what you have, it's much bigger. And if you do nothing, from nothing comes nothing. So also this is a part of it from your training. Prepare your training. So when I do my running and I do my jogging, so I'm prepared. When it's raining, I have a rain jacket. When I my shoes, I take more close shoes. Um, so I get my material right. So when I go on the dance floor and I worked on my jogging and I'm trained, then there are no excuses. But I'm prepared. I take my watch and I put my time on it. There's my watch say after 5 minutes, you have 1 mile. Uh, next 10 minutes, next 5 minutes, you have 2.2 mile. I think, wow, I'm improving. So I'm really already prepared for my training. I have my water with me, etc., etc. So we are not there to say what you must do. What we say only be prepared for your destination, for your departure, for your journey, and for your arrival or your destination.
Yeah.
That's the only thing what we say. And which elements you want to do it, that's personal based. That's really what it is. So there is no magic trick, but the magic trick is how you are prepared.
Prepare.
That's
There's
planning.
there's no magic trick, but there are definitely tools and way you
Yeah.
can, so
Yes.
to speak, slice this cookie. So one of the things that we like to do is, there are three things that you can think about preparing. How is my knowledge prepared, right? Do I know
Yes.
about things? And that's not only knowing about competitions, but it's also knowing about your body, about your movements. There are so many things that you could know. Then the ability that you have, you can work on that. Let's say flexibility. And then the
Hmm.
skill
Hmm.
is how you use your flexibility in a certain movement if you talk about dance, right? So we like to make that distinction. It's a little bit hard to see the difference between ability and skill, but the example of flexibility is a really good example, right? You can be very flexible, but if you don't know how to use it in movement skill, then so those three, if you measure yourself on those three things, and I wish I said that in the Dutch. I think there's a 6 letter acronym that I like to use, and it's coming from advertisement, and it's called Dagmar, 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 and it signs define your action goals and measure your action results. So, define your action goals is your destiny. You know what you want to go
So
to do, but you
yeah.
measure every time what you do. Measure action results. And if you do that constantly, you can see, like, when you're on a ship, see if you're still sailing towards the goal that you are going to. Does that make sense, Tom?
Yes, absolutely. You can put it in the footnote, Sean.
Yeah, I
That's
can put it in the footnote. That's a great idea.
yeah, that's really, really fantastic. And that ability and that skills gives you more choices. So when you have then options, I could say ability are
Yeah,
your
I like that.
options.
I like the
Yes,
option. Yeah,
yeah, options. When you have options,
yeah,
then your skills are your choices.
yeah, yeah. Options lead to choices. That's definitely,
Yes,
that's the basis of your method gem, or, I sometimes even talk about it's our method, but you wrote it,
yes,
but
yeah,
it
yes.
is, yeah, the more abilities you have, the more options you have, the more choices you have, and then it comes down to how and what do you choose. And if you do that without
Which
any,
skills, eh?
yeah,
Which skills you
skills, of
choose?
course,
Yes,
yeah,
yes.
knowledge, ability, skill, and then it comes down to how do you make your choices. And the further you can stay away from judgment over your choices, the more interesting it becomes.
Yes, absolutely. And see your body as an instrument, the whole body,
Yeah,
head,
cool,
shoulders,
cool.
arms, hands, fingers,
Mm,
chest, hips,
mm.
yes, legs,
Does anyone
feet,
recognize that when
toes.
Tom does that? When he said head,
That
shoulders, arms, hands, and
yeah,
fingers. We're talking about the 10 body parts.
yes, the 10
And
body parts.
that's
And that
knowledge,
can
right? And
yes,
then
that's
how, yeah,
yeah, and then bend, stretch, rotate, and then
that's
you
ability.
practice your ability,
Yeah,
yes, and then you practice more ability to stretch,
yeah.
to power training and
So
isolations,
that's
and
all ability.
and more how more the body can work in space and time, how
That's
more
skill.
flexible they are, how more stronger
Hmm.
skills, how more isolations you can, how more coordinated you are. Yeah, coordination is technique mostly. Then
Skill.
then
Yep.
you have skills, and then you have a choice. And if you have a choice, you can color space time.
Yep.
You
Yep.
cannot color really the space and not the time, but
Yep.
by speaking, actually you are the artist on that floor, in that box where you are, or outside in your sphere, and you color that with your art, with your abilities, what you have, and with your
Nice. I like
skills.
that. I like that.
Yeah.
That is so in the heart of your method. If I would translate it, Ton, and then you can see if I really understand your method. Up
Mm.
front, your destiny, you decide what form you want to create. There is way
Yeah.
more than one way how you can color in that form, right? There are
Yes.
several ways, and we would love you to explore all these ways and see what choices you make. And don't immediately make another choice, in my opinion, if one way doesn't work. then check your knowledge, ability, and skill why one way didn't work for you so well. If it's maybe out of your reach, you could make a different choice, but maybe there is something saying, hey, if I get a little bit more ability here, I could do it in this way that I decide to do. What often happens is that people immediately start to change the form that they want to achieve. Like, oh, I can't do that. Let's change the form. Instead of
Yeah.
working on the knowledge, ability, and skill. Um, what sometimes also exists is that they think there's only one way to reach that form.
Yeah.
And if that's your choice, that's fine. We just say it's so fun to just pick your form and see how many ways you can reach that form. And if you don't immediately get it that way, check your knowledge, ability, and skill. See if you can opt that to reach it in that way. And that's a
Yeah.
really nice way to prepare.
Yes, and you can update it always.
Yeah,
Call my training an update from
mhm, I like that too.
yesterday or 2 days ago or 1 week ago,
Yeah, I like that
because
too.
I my update is actually
Hmm.
when I do first my hamstrings, or I do my power sits or squats, you can call them, or plie. Then the first time it hurts, I can do it only 10 seconds. So then I practice it again. 2 days later, I still have muscle pain, but I can do 15 seconds. 3 months later, I can do 2 minutes. So these are
Yeah,
my updates, and this I can do with all the things in dancing, and also with other sports. And this is the training what you could do if you are prepared. And if you are not prepared,
prepared.
and then your goal will be
Yeah,
far away.
yeah,
And when this is your goal,
mm,
I'm now, I get 60 years old, listeners, and I'm quite proud of it, of my age. But I want to practice for myself now, for my health, but also I want to be that dancer what I was with 20 years old, with the knowledge what I have now.
well,
So
that's
what
true.
I'm doing,
Mhm.
yes, what I'm doing is this is my goal. I start with stretching, and my mobility is so, I'm so stiff. I'm started today, and every day I do a bit, and then it gets closer to my goal. And now my students say in the lesson, "Oh, John, you will get more flexible. Your mobility, it's growing. You are developing." I said, "Oh, thank you for the motivation." I get more motivation because my students, they are so flexible, Sean. They are young and they work
Yeah,
on it, and I
yeah,
give them context why it's so important to train that and to improve that. Yeah, it's really incredible. And now I get compliments for them because I'm so
that's
stiff.
good. Yeah,
Yes,
that's
yes,
good.
that's
Well,
wonderful.
you're
Yeah.
still young compared to me because I will be 64 this year.
Yes,
I will be
we go
64.
for
Yeah.
it.
But one thing
Yeah.
that what you said actually spoke a lot to me, and definitely also we call ourselves Dance Gems, which has a lot of relationship with the method gems. But we often hear the saying, practice makes perfect, and we completely disagree with that. Practice makes progress. That's what we believe
Yes.
in. But practice makes
Yeah.
perfect. Believe that's the belief that there is only one way to do things,
Yes.
and that's we just so that you know. If you don't like that, please let us know. This is
Put
great
it in the
too.
notes. Put it in
But
the
it is
notes, Sean.
dance makes progress,
Yeah,
and
dance makes progress.
perfect is an illusion.
No, practice make progress.
Perfect.
So
Yeah.
put it in the notes also,
Yeah.
Sean, in the
Yeah.
footnote.
So
Yes,
we'll do.
wonderful.
Yeah, so that's what we do. And the other thing is what I was thinking about is, yes, Ton and I are proud that we at our age are still this flexible and and still can dance. For a big part, that is also our mom and dad. They gave us really good genes for sure. We cannot influence everything, but at the same time, it is also because without knowing it from each other, we have seen our whole life as practice and preparation itself. It's not like we started to eat healthy yesterday. For some
Yeah.
reason, that has always been in our being. Now, does that mean that wherever you are in life that it's too late to start? No, it's never too late to start. It's just, from eating one salad again, you don't suddenly get healthy. But I promise you, if you do that for a few weeks alone, for a few weeks alone, eating a little bit more healthy than you do today, it makes a huge difference. So every little step, practice makes progress. Remember, every little step. You might not see it in the moment, but if you look back 10 days ago, 20 days ago, let's say with power training, like you do your planks. I did once a plank challenge, right? Can you do 6-minute planks? And I thought, wow, that's a long time, man. 6 minute plank. After a few days, I saw, oh, I can do 10 seconds more. I can do 20 seconds more. And then after 2 weeks, I swear I could do 6-minute plank. Your sound is gone.
Sorry, Sean, you
Yeah.
updated yourself. You
Yes,
updated
yes, and
you.
it's so
That's fantastic.
motivating,
Yeah.
and it's only seconds. So what is a second? You would say, yeah, and so, but it was fun. It was fun, and that principle is, of course, we are not blind for that. At some point in time, age will get to you. Look at my hair. It is what it is. That's fine. Yeah, that's fine. That's really fine. No, that's also a matter of expectation. But yeah, that's what I wanted to say. Is you can still be this vibrant and enthusiastic. It has a lot to do with seeing your life as a complete journey where you keep practicing and progressing. That is so much fun. Your sound is gone again, Tom.
Listeners, don't forget, you invest in yourself. You are only one time on this planet Earth. Do it. There is no second chance. If you want to change, take action. Don't dream about it. Do it, and you will be happy about it. And even if you do it already, you make progress.
Yeah,
If you do
yeah,
nothing, yeah,
yeah,
where you want to train to.
yeah.
So have a goal and also not just follow the trainer. Think always, and also not train physical your body, train also mental, also the mental coach. And Sean knows because he's a mental coach and can explain you how important mental coaching is. So Sean, tell a little bit about it, why this so important.
Well, both you and I actually now even think that mental coaching is a separation of everything. We believe in a holistic approach, right? So, but it's good to separate it for now in the discussion. If you ask everyone, everyone will give me the same answer. How important is, how much in life do you define mentally? And everyone would say that's probably above 80%. Everything that I do is a mental thing. But if you look at athletes and dancers, if you see how much time they practice, it's almost always physical, right? There is a little bit of mentality in there, but I always compare it like this, Tom. And I know it's not a good drink, but the energy drinks like Red Bull, that can give you a boost. That's like motivation. I can give you a motivational talk, like I'm doing right now. But mental coaching and mental training is something like nutrition. You do it all the time. You have to eat every day healthy most of the days. Doesn't mean that once in a while Ton and I don't go out and eat some nice pastry because we both like that. So of course that's but most of the time we are busy with that. It's not once in a while the espresso coffee or the Red Bull which give you motivation, which is part of it. That's great, but it's a habit that you bring into you every day. And as much as you can practice a turn or a jump or a flexibility, you can actually practice your mentality as well every day. And if you do it in a kind of a nice way, is when you integrate the two, you know
The training, yes.
yes.
uh,
When remember
yeah,
when we talked about the
yeah.
planking, I had a mental preparation to say, okay, yesterday was 50 seconds, I just do 5 seconds more. And by
Yes.
second number 40, my mind already wants to give up a little bit, right? Like my body's like, okay, but it's only 15. Let's count down, which is a mental
Yes.
preparation.
Yes. Is that not also a manifestation, Sean, that you
Of
want
course.
to
Yeah,
do
of
that?
course. Of
Yeah.
course. Of course. Strangely enough, I mean, this is completely off topic, but I'm telling you it anyhow because it's coming into my mind, is the more you visualize your goal, your destination, your body also starts to develop towards that goal, even without the physical training. And
Mhm.
that is a part of what we call neuroplasticity. It's in early researches that was back in the 50s, we thought that your neuroplasticity doesn't develop anymore after the age of 7. We know now you can change your brain at any moment in time. Dr. Amen, there's a really strange name, but Dr. Amen, he did a lot of research that at any moment in time, you can still, change the way your
Yeah.
brain function, but it also physically changes. And when that physically changes, it has a change on your muscle structure just by
Yeah.
really being busy constantly with your destination.
Body mind. We have a podcast about that,
Yeah.
listeners. So
Yeah, we do. We do.
that's one
We
of
do.
them.
Yeah.
Sean, actually,
Yeah.
to stay more healthy, I want not to say the power drink is
It's not
for
healthy,
you.
but
Yeah. So maybe the water of life.
yeah.
So if you take the water, that brings you also your power for your life,
Yeah.
because you need water actually.
You
Otherwise, you
do.
will not
Yeah.
survive.
Of course.
So,
Yeah. You need
and
sleep.
what?
You need all that things. Yeah.
Yes, actually, also we had it in an earlier podcast. Your awareness is only day in your daily life. 95% of your daily life that you really be not aware actually of
That's
your
right.
daily
Yeah.
life. So actually, they say in the research you only 5%, but some researchers said only 1%. And if you would train your flexibility, your power training, your core training, it's also power training, actually, your isolations, if you would train this more with awareness, I believe that you not have to do the exercise for 2 hours or 1 hour. You could do it in 20 minutes. Be more smart if you train.
Be
If you
knowledgeable.
train knowledgeable, be aware of your body. Beautiful
Yeah.
word we have for it. It's proprioception. Be aware of your lines in your body, of your connection. If you train your power training, your flexible training, your isolations, and you will grow in a shorter time. You can make shortcuts for your training if
Yeah.
you be more aware. And Sean said it, if you put 1% higher, you improve already 20% of your awareness during the day. And I'm aware of my proprioception even in my daily life. So when I know I have to close my feet in my practice in dancing, during my life, I try to feel sometimes how it feels to close. So I practice already closing. Nobody sees that I'm actually already busy with my dancing later on the practice floor, but I'm already practicing my body awareness. And when you can improve that awareness, yes, and you have your mental coach also, and you practice this everything, you can reach in a shorter duration, you can reach
Yeah.
more
More.
progress.
More. I like that. I like that. I was talking to one of my students, Ton, earlier this week, and I gave them actually the question: how can you exponentially increase your practice and preparation time? And they said, well, we can go maybe one evening more to the dance studio. I said, okay, but that's not exponential. I mean, that's great. If you can do it, I immediately have the question, why didn't you do that before? Right? But that's another thing, right? That's a mentality thing, right? And they said, well, we don't understand what you mean. And exponentially. I mean, what do you mean? I said, literally said, you know, 10x more. And I said, with everything you do, you can become more aware of how you do it, proprioception, right? And he said, but what has that to do with dance? Well, my question to you, Tom, that has everything to do with dance, right? If you are more aware how I grab this cup of coffee, it used to be tea,
Yes.
by the way, the awareness of how your body moves increases so much,
Yes,
exponentially.
yes,
Yeah.
the
Go.
difference with it, you know
Hmm.
where the cup is in space and
Yes.
how and what how long it takes to take it, but you will not think about it because you are not aware of it.
Yeah.
If you now be aware of it,
Yes.
then you know exactly what bend, stretch, and rotate, and you can also manipulate, actually define the time for yourself, how long you
Define.
take it, because you are aware of it. And this you can practice during your daily life. And when you go to that floor, actually you not have that cup of coffee there or tea, but you define the point where you go in space and how much time you want to do it, if you bend to stretch or rotate it.
Yeah.
So that's all about awareness.
I
And
love it.
if you
Yeah.
be aware of it, you need a shorter time. And I call it, by my students, I call it the 4 focus points.
Hmm.
One of them is seeing, listening, feeling, because we have 2 square meter of skin where we can feel, and thinking. So if I have this 4 focus point and they are all maximum to what you want to learn, it goes much more faster. So if I'm busy during my lessons with this, also as teacher, I'm busy with feeling. So when I touch my skin and I just feel, then it goes less from my eyes and from my ears and from my thinking. So be full there for your teacher, and
Yeah.
also vice versa. Not that the teacher is a little bit like this, off, and that motivates also not. So be also as teacher full there. And what
Nice.
I want also to say, Sean,
Hmm.
try to be more critical also as teacher, not critical like
Negative.
this, but
Yeah.
yes,
But
positive, but give
positive.
them context, but also vice versa, ask them feedback, your students, and try to make your training interesting. Not, you can do always the same, but if you do the same, explain them why you do the same, or give them context then, and give them a reason and a goal why you do the same. And if you want make more change of training and how I would say make it more interesting for them, and you change the training often, but then it gets also more interesting for them. So don't stuck to the always to the same, and give them context why you do something. And actually, I had a other one very important for your training is your simulation, Sean. The can you tell something about that one? I had a question actually.
Yeah.
Why that is so important for your training to simulate the training?
Yeah, I think simulation, let me try it slightly different than in the Dutch podcast. Simulation is almost like tasting your end results already before you have to give it to your guests, right? So if you're a cook, you don't want to make a dish and then you suddenly give it to your guest and hope that it turns out. You have made that dish many times already and you taste it and think, okay, by the time that I make, I'm a professional cook, by the time that I make it for my guest, now I have done it a few more times in a simulation version where you only test it yourself or with a small group of people. Did you say, okay, I said, Ton would say to me, here, do you try this dish? And then Ton would say, I would, if it's the real thing, I would do a little bit more salt in it. Okay. So my simulation is trying to make the circumstances so that I can already feel how it would be to do the real thing. Now, you do it for two reasons. I think mentally that helps you a lot because it becomes a little bit more normal to do your audition or your competition. But secondly, which is probably the most important for us, is you can learn a lot from how you can improve what your end result would like, what you would like your end result to be. So there's two sides. You have a good mental preparation, the nervous get out of it, you know more. um, and secondly, you can reflect on your simulation if you make your simulation as close as possible to the real situation, of course. If it's very far off, so let's say you know that you dance on a stage where there's a lot of bright lights. Well,
Yes.
practice then very often with a lot of bright lights, right? You can put the clothes that matches the lights. You can maybe make slightly different arrangements in the company because you have different shadows because of the bright lights, right? So you can prepare that, you know more. If you know that it is a very small floor, make sure then that you have maybe tapes on your floor that you know in what area you should stay, you know?
Yeah. Yes.
Done.
Yeah. But mostly you also the external factors has influence on that one.
Yes. Yeah.
And if you are prepared and try to gain so much as knowledge before, you are
Yeah.
prepared. It's like that journey, Sean. And then you can departure, then you can make your journey training with all the points you know already before, you collect them, and then you can arrive departure. So then is your, say, your audition for the school or for the company or the competition for the judges or the TV presentation where you want to bring your act. But still, you are always depend what the external factor thinks about it or feels about it. But still, you are prepared. If you are not prepared, then you
Yeah.
are have surprises there, and then you will say afterwards why I wasn't prepared for that one. And now you can be prepared because you have to take action, and most people
Exactly.
they not take action. That's sorry that I say that, but this is about experience.
Yeah, no, I think it's spot on. It's literally making the distinction between do you know what you can influence and what you can't, and what you can't influence. Um, don't try it. So let me, but you can still be prepared for it. So you can't influence the weather, but you can bring an umbrella with you. Does that make sense? So you
Yeah.
cannot stop the rain from falling, but you can definitely make sure that you don't get wet. That you don't bring an umbrella, that's your preparation, right? That's how simple it, and the more you know about it and think about it, okay, I might not be able to change it, but I can still do something to prepare myself. Another example is like, some competitions, just they play the music for 2 minutes. Be sure that you can actually, keep up with 2 minutes. Don't die already after 1 minute, right? Um, but here is what I wanted to say in the Netherlands, in Dutch too, by the way. So I met I met a trainer once, and he said to me, I know a competition can be 2 minutes, so I let my students practice for 4 minutes. What do you think about that, Jean? I said, well, I hate to say things about right and wrong, but in my opinion, that is, I would look at that differently. And he said, what do you mean? Well, if you train 100-meter sprinter, you don't let them sprint for 200 meters all the time because they divide their energy in a different way. You let them most of the time simulate the 100 meters. They want to give everything in 100 meters, not on 200 meters. It's a different competition. So, and it changed his mind, like, oh my gosh, that makes actually sense. Because, if they practice for 4 minutes, they
Yes,
can do
but
4 minutes, but they use their energy differently. So
I understand it.
simulation needs to be at
Yes.
times as close as
Exact.
possible to
Yes.
the real situation,
Correct.
whatever that
But
situation is.
what I think, I cannot interpret it for him. He
Mm.
thought maybe I want to overcompensate
Yes,
that you have
yes,
enough there. I
logic.
understand. I
Yeah,
Yeah, that's logical. Yeah, maybe yes, maybe not. But if you simulate it so close as
as
possible.
possible.
Well,
Yeah,
what you said, yes, and make also many videos, because when you see
nice,
it, because
nice.
always the eyes
Yeah,
has the most
yeah,
information, not the eyes, but the brain, because the eyes are your tools, and the brain is busy with all these pictures. And 80-90% people are picture thinkers.
visual
So
thinkers. Yeah,
visual
yeah,
thinkers, yes. And if you then have videos from it from different angles, then your training you can also improve through the analyze of the video, because you can look slowly, you can look at several times. If you do it one time, we had it in other podcast also, you perceive it only once, and then it's gone. So, and the short knowledge, what I want to say, or awareness, is really, really short. When I put some, how I would say, some small article there, and I would read it for you, and you must say it, what I wrote for you, then probably you will be not so close to it, because the most of the words you will forget. And this is why a video is so important. Yes, Sean,
yeah. I
you want
like it. Visualization. I think it's a whole topic by itself. The power of visualization is
yes,
a whole topic in itself. But with video and the tools, any tools that you can use to help you with your practice, right? You can look at smaller details of what you have been doing together with your coach and your colleagues, which come down to what we said a little bit in the beginning. The more distinction you can see in what you do, the more closer you get to mastery. And mastery is, of course, a subjective thing, but it's not. It's just another word for progressing in what you do, right? And there is I think it's a German saying: "With distinction comes mastery." Which means, like, the first time when I started to dance, I did not know left from right and right from left. We just doing things, and then bit by bit we do it. In the book of Gem, the Gem method, dance from a different perspective. The There's many things that you can see in there, but one of the things is that Ton broke almost everything down. You have 10 body parts. There are only three things you can move. You can move them in a singular way, or you can move them in a combination way, which we call composed. And everything that you do, the
yeah,
dynamics that you can do, your emotions, and the more you can manage all these different things and put them together in the way you want, not in the way how I
yeah,
want, but the way you want, that
yes,
for me is a form of mastery. You
yeah,
know,
mastering or magic. You
or
bring the
yeah, you
magic
can
then.
you can almost call it magic,
So
right?
yeah, we go
And
from micro to macro.
to macro, and that's so. In our last conference, Tom, we stumbled on a nice concept. I thought it was a nice concept, not because I said it, but just we work
Mhm.
when we worked with our students. Is most people start with being unconscious composed. They just move everything they do, right? They scratch their hand, but they don't do, a singular movement where they scratch their hand, which is much more clear because we scratch their hand. We are very unaware how all these things, and in a normal activity, that is perfectly fine. But if you start to work on your proprioception, your awareness of the self, you think, oh, can I actually scratch with only one singular movement? I'm only bending one, body part, right? Or do I it composed, which is now a choice, which is great too. But most of the
Yes,
time when we move, we flippity flap our arms, not even knowing that we do. Becoming aware works better if you come from micro, singular,
yes,
to macro in a
yes,
awareness state of mind.
Yes, I actually you go from macro to micro and from
And then
micro to
macro, and then
macro.
back up.
It's
It goes back.
always
Yeah, you go from
like ping pong.
unconscious, yeah,
Yes,
unconscious composed to conscious singular, back to conscious composed. That would be the nice
yes,
way to say it.
yeah, yes,
Yeah,
yes,
that will be.
absolutely.
That will be.
Yeah. So Sean, I have to teach now.
And
So
I have to end the podcast, but we are so enthusiastic on this topic, Tom.
yes,
It
one
an
hour is
hour
nothing, eh?
was again nothing, and there are many things we need to discuss. So forgive us if we didn't address all the things and all the questions that you have. But you can write to us and let us know if you want to know more about these things or about other things, and we'll
Yes,
gladly address it. With this, I already say to you, of course, Tom, happy teaching your students, and I'm looking
yes,
forward to our next episode of Dance Gems.
yes. Next time, next week. Thank you, listeners, for listening. And
Yeah,
Sean will tell you where you can find us. Bye
yes.
bye.
Bye bye. This was the art of practice and preparation in dance with, of course, my good friend Tom and myself. We call ourselves the Dance Gems. And you can find us at Dance Gems on Spotify. You can find us at YouTube or at Ton Greten podcast. And you can find us, of course, on our own website, gem.dance/podcast. And with that, we say bye bye. And we'll
Bye
hope to
bye.
see and hear you next time. All right. I finished.